Activate.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to This Pink Cloud. We are a show. We're a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery, mental health, all that good stuff. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. Oh, you went too quick.
I can't adjust. I can't adjust for the Bluetooth delay. I'm not going to get it right.
Hey, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Sitting in with me, as always, my good friend and cohort, Chad LeMans.
We changed my name. It's now Chade.
It's Chad. It's Chade.
Chade. C-H-A-D-E.
Right.
Yeah. My name's going to be different like all the time. It's been Chafe. It's been,
Just any mispronunciation.
Yeah, where I can add an E, basically, in the word Chad. And I've added 2 this time.
Well, there we go.
It's exciting stuff.
All right, and excited to have this young man on. He is in charge of something called Peer2Peer Whole Wellness. I would say he is the founder, CEO / everything of it. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jack M. Brown.
Woo!
Woohoo! How are you, brother? Good to see you.
I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me back on the show.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're excited. I mean, you have good stuff going on with your, with your peer-to-peer whole wellness. I know you're trying to reach a certain goal right now. Like, aren't you doing sleeping bags, like a sleeping bag drive or?
It is sleeping bag season, y'all. So this is the deal. So I woke up one day and I decided I wanted to do a sleeping bag drive, right?
Okay.
So we're doing it. This is our 4th year.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
This is our 4th year doing it, right?
Okay.
So this year is a little different. This year we want 1,000 sleeping bags. We know exactly the total we want, but we want to service 2 counties. We're going to service Tarrant County.
Well, and then why don't you tell people what peer-to-peer whole wellness is all about and what you do, what you offer out there?
All right. So peer-to-peer is a lot, right? We pay the bills by direct care services to the behavioral health community. What does that mean? We provide peer support. We provide training, supportive employment, mentorship, things of that nature. But what I love the most is our outreach programs, right? And so every second Saturday we feed the homeless. Every third Tuesday we have a mobile pantry in Oak Cliff, the southern section of Dallas.
Right.
And then every 4th Friday we have another mobile pantry over in the Fair Park area is what we'll say.
Right. Well, and I love it because y'all are actually out there doing real shit in the community, tangible stuff that people can see.
And he brought us both hats.
There we go. Dude, I know. There you go.
On top of the headphones, it's a look.
I like it.
It's quite the look.
I like it. But and then how did you start this? Like what was the reasoning behind starting this?
What, all of it, peer to peer?
Yeah, just peer to peer.
Us, really.
Okay.
My recovery journey. I got tired of watching how they abuse us in the system, how they stigmatize us in the system, and we don't have a voice, right? And then you go to work for these said organizations and you end up treating people more like a number instead of a person. And so I always told myself, one day when I have my business, I'm not going to treat people like that, right? Or I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And then one day I looked up, I had a business.
Right. Well, that's great, dude. And if they want to reach out or donate, like if somebody out there has 1,000 sleeping bags, how do they reach you?
Call my phone right now.
Well, no. But I mean,
I'm coming to you.
But online, what's the best way to reach you?
Let's say we have a chat bot now. So go to the website, hit the chat box.
And the website is
Peer2Peer with a number 2.
Yeah.
Whole Wellness, all one word.
Right. Just like it says on the cap right there. Right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't go wrong. Add a .org to that and you in.
Okay, cool.
There we go, man.
Well, dude, I love what you're doing out there. So, but the woman of the hour, sometimes we like to actually class up the show.
I love what you're doing out there, but
just kick that to the curb right quick, right?
Good enough. But I am excited to have this young lady in. Her name is Rachel Labus, and she is the CEO of Vita Nova Housing. So we are excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
blessed to be here.
With the Zen.
Yeah, I couldn't do the delay on it. Sorry.
Right. Well, so, I guess, before we get into talking about your organization and what you do, let's hear a bit of your backstory and, whence you came from.
Well, I was born in Chicago.
Okay. Shout out Chi-Town.
So I am currently 9 years in recovery. Well, I will be.
Okay.
January 5th.
We'll round
Awesome.
up. All right.
Round up.
Cool.
2016.
Okay.
And man, it's been a major journey. So when I share my story, I share my story. So it's,
Hey, get real. We're not editing anything here at all.
okay. So I don't have. And I used to be really nervous about that because I don't have the horror story as far as prison and
Right,
all
like
that.
Chad. Yeah,
I
don't either. I was just a boring alcoholic. So yeah, it's all good.
So, but pain is pain, right?
Yeah, hey,
Pain is pain.
it is what it is.
So, pretty active in high school.
Mm-hmm. What side of Chicago did you grow up on?
Well, I moved around a lot.
Okay,
So, kind of like what Jack's saying, I've been all over the place.
gotcha.
So, from Chicago to Lancaster, Texas, to Los Angeles.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so Los Angeles is the time when I started experimenting.
Ah.
I was a pretty good student, you
Yeah.
know, did the things that I was supposed to do. But one thing I've learned in recovery is that one of my issues looking back is acceptance. I
Okay.
always wanted to be accepted. Always looking for acceptance in the wrong places.
Ah. Okay.
That could have a little bit to do with a lot of moving around as a young person, always wanting to fit in.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, oh, what are you hitting? Can I try some of that?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
until I got to the point. Now, one of the questions I asked myself after I got into recovery is, when did I become an addict?
Right.
Like, when did I cross the line? I could not figure that out, but there's no way to figure that out. You know, I've learned that whether I crossed the line or not, it was inbred in me from early on.
Okay.
Right? You know, looking at the behaviors. So anyway, going through college is what really started the, I would say, the experimentation on a whole nother level.
Right.
you
Now,
know?
were you going to like UCLA or what?
I
were-
ended up going to Columbia College in Chicago.
Okay.
So I left LA, came back to Chicago,
okay.
and floodgates opened.
Okay.
Anything and everything. And it's not about really the substance. You know, alcohol is my go-to.
Right.
That is my DOC.
Right.
But it opened me up to the things that brought me to my knees. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the midst of all that, I did get married.
Okay.
I have 3 beautiful children. I am divorced.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's usually
right.
what happens when drugs and alcohol take over your life.
Sure.
On the outside, it looked like a successful marriage, I would say.
Okay.
You know, the jobs, the cars, the house, you know. So one day so we were toward the end of our marriage, my life started spinning out of control. You know, the sneaking out.
Well, I mean, I always say, like with drinking, it becomes like your second job, or it becomes your most important job for sure. And if you're trying to hide it from somebody, then it's like the bottle shuffle, and then okay, when am I going to get it? Okay, I need to have this. I mean, in Texas, it's like they don't sell on Sundays, so it's like,
What is up with that?
Right?
What
I got to
is
buy
up with
enough
that?
to make it through. You know,
That drove me crazy when I moved here, because in Chicago, like, I wouldn't even start to go out to the bars or the clubs till 10:30, 11 o'clock.
yeah.
And then I moved down here, and it's like, y'all close at what time?
Yeah, right.
We come home
Right.
at 5 in the morning, right? So, you know, that whole part of my life is pretty much, it's the same story. You know, we all just kind of go down that dark hole. What is the most, and my story has changed so much since I've come into recovery. The more recovery I get, the less I talk about the horrors, because we all know that side.
Right.
But it's those turning points, those moments, like, for example, you know, my ex used as well. He did his thing, but he could manage a job. And so I would be the one kind of hiding it, doing what I was doing, whatever. And as I do, the self-centered part of my disease showed me he was the problem.
Okay.
So against everybody's example and advice, do not leave him. Like, why would you leave him? Well, I left thinking he was the problem.
Of course.
And my life really spiraled out of control. Really spiraled out of control. So I love the silver lining of the story, because to this day I can honestly say if I hadn't gone down that path, I wouldn't be who I am today. Right. So I'm so grateful to learn and to look back. I don't even beat myself up anymore. I mean, I've done some things that women should not do. Right. You know, ladies should not do. Sure. You know.
Well, why don't you tell us about that? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I thought I was hiding my addiction. That was a farce. Yeah. But it took about 4 years after my divorce before I realized I had a problem.
Right.
About 4 years.
Until you figured out that you were the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it started with, I was very fortunate because my ex did really well. So I got child support, which a lot of women don't get. I even got spousal support. So I was able to live a certain lifestyle until I couldn't. So another turning point was I'm getting a certain amount of money every month to cover all my bills. And I find myself going to my landlord, oh, I can't pay the whole rent this month. Right. You know what I mean? And then when that started to continue, it was like, oh, well, so eventually I ended up homeless. Let's just get to the chase of it. Yeah. Eventually I ended up homeless, couch surfing with 2 kids. And
oh, wow. What was your husband doing like the whole time? Was he like, was he co-parenting, or did he just, cut and run?
No, he didn't cut and run. Okay. No, he did not cut and run. He was in his own thing.
Okay. He had his own addiction going on?
I wouldn't say that for him.
Right, okay. But he had his own whatever going on.
He was doing, and he would take the kids or whatever. But I did the best I could with what I had, but it wasn't until one early morning, sun rising again, and I'm still up all night, and I just couldn't cry anymore. And I'm like, there's gotta be, I'm 40 at the time, 46 years old. Like I cannot see me hitting 50. Like I didn't even have the words. The pain was so great, it was time, right? So I was working at American Airlines at the time. I was grateful to get that job. I almost lost that job. Right. And they had an EAP program at my job. I probably shouldn't have said that, American Airlines, but hey, I credit them saving my life.
Yeah, that's great what I mean? That
they want people to know that.
Yeah, probably.
Well, what is the EAP program?
Employee Assistance Program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I called in that very moment of desperation. I got into treatment. Fast forward, I wish it was a one and done. It was very difficult for me to stay clean. I couldn't make 6 days to save my life, but I did not give up.
Right.
I would not give up. Because to me, in that moment of desperation when I cried out, that was the first response I got from my higher power was call, right?
Right.
So for the first time, I was obedient to something that came from, a real, true, heartfelt request. So I knew that this was the answer. And I knew that if I went back, my next step would have been prostitution and losing my children, or losing my daughter, because other ones were grown. So I did not give up. I just kept pushing forward. I was that close to prostitution. I know it sounds crazy because a lot of women just come up and be like, oh yeah, I used to da 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 da. That was like one of those things I will never.
Right.
And I had been propositioned a couple times. And, it was getting more and more attractive because it was your money, not my money, Right. So once I got to that point, I think that was the last straw. Was I'm about to go down an even deeper hole. Like I'm about to really dig myself into a place that I may not be able to get back from. I mean, I've been pulled over.
Well, a lot of times, like with prostitution, it starts off like I hear the story where it starts off with, I'm just going to be at the strip club, and then it graduates from there. But,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I've been, and a lot of the people I hung out with were prostitutes.
Yeah.
And I heard the stories.
Yeah.
I mean, being raped with bottles and tied up, and that was attractive. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like, but they got the money.
Right.
But I got pulled over one day at 2:00 in the morning. Like, why you put me over?
What did I do?
with a prostitute in the car.
Okay.
And the officer looked at me. He knew her, and he looked at her and he said, "You need to get home. You know, I don't want to see you out here." And he looked dead me in the eyes, straight in my eyes, and he told me, he's like, "If you keep coming around here, you're not going to like what ends up happening." And for some reason, that was like 3 times I've been told that.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't be out here, you know? And I just failed. It was something so alluring about the streets for me, you know, just, and looking back, it's like, oh my God, like some of the stuff, you know, breaking, entering and
Sure.
and theft. I just never got caught, you know, I did it, but I just never got caught.
Right.
So fast forward, I did stay with narcotics. I'm with Narcotics Anonymous. I started off with AA, ended up with Narcotics Anonymous, and I've been there ever since. And about 4 years in, I was, you know, I have sponsees. And I was working with a sponsee, and she told me about her sister. We were on step 2, and she was telling me about her sister who owned a transitional home in Ohio.
Okay.
And regardless of what y'all's beliefs are, I do believe in God.
Okay.
He saved me.
Yeah.
I feel like he placed it in my spirit, just like, this is what I want you to do. And
Right.
at first I was really like, I've never lived in a transitional home.
Well, it's like that whole thing. Like, where do your ideas come from?
Yeah.
You know, is
Yeah.
it like did I make that up? Or,
Right.
You know, it's
I
like,
never thought
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
Never even been in a transitional home.
Right.
So I prayed about it for a few days. I asked a couple people in the program because I'm very active in my program. And so I just started asking people, and someone told me, like, how many times have you been called to do something and you just didn't do it? And I thought, I do not want to miss the opportunity to be of service, you know? And someone told me, like, well, you know what? If you don't do it, he'll find somebody else to do it. And I said, I'm doing it.
Right.
From that point, that was July of 2020, COVID year.
Okay.
And I've been working ever since.
Right on. Well, let's
That's
get
awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. But let's go ahead and throw to commercial real quick. We've got your mama's book.
Phone call as a parent that your son has been hit by a car and is being life flighted.
2 hours before we got the call, Chad had called me to tell me it was the best day of his life. And then I get another call, and a stranger had found him, and they were care flighting him to a trauma unit, and that he would start praying for our family that we needed to hurry.
You know, when you wake up on the operating table and they're like, we're going to cut off both your legs. And then I wake up and then one's gone, the other one's in an external rod system. It's just not good. The real kicker is that I've had like all of these scars all over my arms, and that's all from complications resulting from drug abuse.
I never thought about giving up on him. Never. This is my son, and I know he's going to be okay. You cannot just have help for the addict. You have to seek out professional help. The whole family has been affected.
And I just want to make that very clear to anybody who's out there listening. If I can do this thing as much as I've been through, man, there's a lot of wiggle room for people before they get to that point where they can do it too.
All right. And that book is actually called 2 Calls. And if you go to 2calls.org, it will take you to the website where they can purchase the book. But then y'all also do speaking engagements and speaking stuff.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, I burped. It was off camera when I burped. But yeah, we do. We go around and talk to different groups, specifically trying to focus on like the family dynamic. The entire family, like Lil Sheila said,
right?
The entire family has been affected. And they weren't really offered any resources to help. So that whole book, it's called 2 Calls, Blossoming Faith and Keeping Hope Alive. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. And it is available on, Amazon, all that stuff. And it's geared towards showing like the journey from the family's perspective,
Right.
and to show resources that are free and available
Right.
for families.
And not just how stupid you were, right?
No, not just how stupid I was.
All right. And speaking of stupid, we also have music out, right?
Yeah. What's the song called?
I'm not going to tell you.
Exactly. Speaking of stupid. Yeah, even if they have one leg.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, so that is streaming on all major platforms. Actually, if you go to Spotify, there is a playlist called This is Kelly Reverb, and you can follow that. And then be sure and follow the podcast on there as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, Chad?
Stop talking to me, dude.
Anyway, so I guess we want to get back to, I know you have your organization, which is called Vita Nova Housing. So let's, you were saying how God put it in your heart. And, that was the same with me with this show. It was just like kind of an opportunity presented itself. And I was just like, well, I don't think, it's kind of like, can there ever be enough churches? You know what I mean? So it's like, that was the whole thing why I did this show, is because I was like, hey, if I would have seen this show, maybe it would have helped me, because I'm sharing everybody else's experience with people that maybe don't want to go to an AA meeting or think there's some kind of secret handshake or that it's culty or something like that, and that's why I did this. So let's get into why you did what you did.
Yeah, this is value driven. Like like you said, there's not enough churches. There's not
Right.
enough value. During COVID, I was amazed at how many people got sober and clean from Zoom.
Right.
Well, virtual.
Right. Sure.
And stayed sober.
Right.
Or clean. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. So I don't think God makes mistakes. I think what we do is we get into fear and we don't follow what's already in us.
Sure.
Because there's no competition.
Right.
There isn't.
Right.
There's plenty of room for everyone to be successful and to touch the people that he needs us to touch.
Sure. I
'Cause
agree.
no one person is going to reach everybody. So honestly,
Yeah, it's not a contest for sure.
no.
Yeah.
And I was in a lot of fear, but I walked through that fear.
Right.
And I just kept praying, like, just show me the way. And every door.
Right.
And when I say every door, I don't mean prosperity wise. I mean, just like they have this thing in the recovery housing field. It's called NIMBY,
Okay.
not in my backyard.
Okay.
So like HOAs and nicer neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
not gonna have that in my neighborhood.
Right, yeah.
A bunch of addicts, alcoholics. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna bring our values down. and
Well,
all that.
that's like what's that damn sober living place? The Oxford House.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was trying. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if you get an Oxford House in the neighborhood, it's like, oh, no, we don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's in bringing up Oxford. That's because, like I said, I had no idea. I had never been in a recovery home or a sober living home. That's not. I left treatment, went back to work.
Okay.
So I still had an apartment, whatever. So that was my first thing: is what is it going to look like, and it was very clear to me, like, this path that God has brought me on, he brought me here to help others. Mm-hmm. It wasn't for me,
Right.
particularly. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it was to reach others who were in the same pain. So, okay, what does that look like?
Right.
You know, I've had sponsees, but what does that look like outside? Because when you describe your show, You said different forms of recovery.
Right.
Different
Multiple pathways.
Multiple
Yeah.
pathways.
And that's what, and I love that because not everything, it's not just one set way,
Right.
Yeah.
I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Because I was so indoctrinated with my recovery. When I first opened, it was like, you're going to do it by the book. Like, you got to get a sponsor. You got to do da. And it talk about control issues. Oh
Right.
my God. So, well, back to the Oxford thing. So I used Oxford's, it's an organization that works.
Sure. Yeah,
Right.
they have a fantastic blueprint.
Yes.
And it's like self-governing.
Yes.
To where,
That is the only thing I didn't like.
Okay.
Like, what does it look like somebody with 60 days
Right.
governing somebody with 30 days? Like,
Right,
and then I
yeah.
know, especially with women, because I had a lot of people tell, are you sure you want to do women? Women are complex and da. Well, that's my calling. So
Right.
I work with women pretty well. I love working with women.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the one thing I did not do. I said, there's got to be a higher,
Like a hierarchy.
yes. It's community and it is democratic on certain things, but somebody with some sense in recovery needs to make decisions, because more so women than men, we click up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't like her.
Yeah.
Right. She's too cute. She thinks she's too cute. You
right.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
She got to go.
She gotta go. Like, and they start with, she leaves her toothbrush on the
Right.
So I'm like, that's not gonna work. So.
Right.
But when the women come in, it's so I want to go back, because my recovery in and of itself is so important, because it's all I have to give the women. One of the first things that I feel like has given me the foundation to be able to be successful at what I do is understanding that this is a gift. Someone told me, I'll never forget, it was like the third time I had relapsed, and someone had told me, like, well, if you don't put it in your hand, you won't use. And just remember, you're a miracle today. And it was the first time I ever thought about my life being a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, like, I really am a miracle.
Right.
Because I was in so much pain.
Sure.
And so lost. And it wasn't like overnight, but to see I went from this to this, like he was saying earlier, a year later was like a chasm of difference.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the one.
I was like, like when I first got into a recovery, or when I first became recovered, I guess if that's a term, it was definitely a baby deer. You know what I mean? Like, you're a little shaky.
Yeah.
Because you're so not used to functioning without that substance. You're like a little shaky, and there's like, and then also, facing like, being uncomfortable and all that stuff is definitely a huge part of it. But then if you lean into it and you're like, okay, it's okay to be uncomfortable, and that's just part of the process, and I mean, that all takes time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And it takes, so I am too complicated of an individual to self-regulate. Okay. I need someone who has gone before me.
An objective outsider.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I need a village.
Yeah.
And I'll start with my sponsor. Now, this is just my personal walk in recovery, because it worked for me. I wouldn't change it. But soon thereafter, when I started seeing like these women coming in with mental health issues, some women love to work out for their recovery.
Sure.
Some women wanted to do the religious route. I started seeing this bigger picture. Like my program of recovery is my cocoon.
Okay.
But when I start working with women, I started so Jack was one of the people who had suggested I get my recovery peer support.
Right. And that's funny that you said that, because I was going to also point that out. I wanted to point that out earlier, is that your Peer-to-Peer Whole Wellness offers training for that, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Sorry to cut you off.
No.
But so do you, like, if Chad wanted to go in and get his MHPS or his RSPS?
He will come see us.
Okay.
Either one, and we can do his peer supervision. His peer supervision for his 250 hours as well. So it's a one-stop shop.
Okay, and then are you also the peer supervisor as well? Like, because it's like I had to take the course, and then it was like I had Dusty. You know Dusty, right? Yeah. So everybody know Dusty. but you know, like, I mean, I had to, you know, meet with him, like, I think it was like once a month, and then he would check off all my hours. So, but you can teach the class and do it all, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I supervise Rachel.
Well, yeah, and that's dope that because I never knew that, you know, about, you know, I thought you were just giving out sleeping bags. I didn't know that, you know, you had that going on.
No, it's not just sleeping bags, dude.
It's hats too.
Bringing us hats. I had to take it off because we were talking about such amazing, serious things. I was like, I look like a fucking moron right now.
Well,
But then I put it back on because
Yeah.
this is a cool hat.
it is. But so y'all offer that now. Is that to just the general public? I mean, like if anybody wants to, do y'all, does it cost money or?
Oh yeah, there's a fee. You can call
Okay.
me and we'll talk fee because I try to work with people.
Sliding scale?
Yeah, somewhat.
On what-
Somewhat.
yeah.
There's some
Well, yeah.
scholarships and things of that nature. So there's some conversations and going on that we will be able to provide possibly more scholarships moving forward, or payment vouchers is what we'll call it.
Because a lot of people, you know, want to get involved in that aspect. And I was talking, I was talking to you, and because I hadn't done the MHPS, which she is talking about, but I hadn't done that. So, you know, it's always, you know, good to have the more assets or tools you have.
Yes.
You know, the better off you can understand where somebody else is coming from, maybe.
Yes.
You know.
In my opinion, the recovering addict or recovering alcoholic makes better peers
Right. Yeah.
because of the diversity.
Right.
Right. Accepting the substance misuse made it easy for me to accept the mental health challenge aspect of it. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so when we come in one dimensional, right, from the mental health aspect, this is a fast paced field. There's a lot of moving parts all the time, and the life expectancy of a peer is about 2 years.
Right.
So we adapt really well,
Yeah.
and so we're the answer.
Okay.
I want to cross train everybody.
Yeah, no, I love it, dude. So that's good to know. But so then you were trained by Mr. Jack here.
Well, I got my training through the state.
Okay.
Jack was my supervisor.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I have my recovery peer support and now my mental health peer support, and it was life changing for me because that's when I started opening my mind to the fact that other people recover differently.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of Nazis in 12 step.
That's
really
funny
is.
because that is exactly what I say to certain people. You know, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So to me, if I'm going to work with other people in recovery, I need to broaden my perspective. So when I learned about the different pathways of recovery, even like marijuana maintenance, like when I heard that, I was like, what? Oh, hell no. Are you serious? No, but it works for some people.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, there was an argument it was some group on Facebook, and there was a lady who was celebrating like 6 years off of heroin.
Right.
But she still drank wine, and she was saying, my recovery, you know, I have 6 years clean off, and all these people were arguing her down. You ain't clean.
Right.
You still drinking wine, you know? And I was like torn because of what I was indoctrinated with.
Right.
And what I felt like she was being attacked. Like, if it works for her,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I
and her-
mean, look, I mean, not everybody has to be abstinence based, you know,
Right.
and that's kind of what, you know, like what the show's about. It's just like, you know, hey, what works for that person might not be a good fit for you.
Right.
So, and then that's what, you know, the RSPS, you know, kind of teaches us is that, like what you were saying, marijuana maintenance and whatnot.
And there's some people like I know a lady, actually two ladies, who actually their recovery is working out.
Yeah.
Like they're all about Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Rachel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love me some Rachel. I
Yeah.
just talked to Rachel. She wants to be a peer. So
Does
yeah, yeah. She reached out about the training. So to me, it's all about the programming, right? Like NA was witness protection for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I just wanted to live in witness protection. It wasn't until I took the peer training where I began to understand that there could be possible different pathways to recovery. But all I was exposed to was this.
Yeah.
This is where 12 steps should come in. Where's the open-mindedness?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Medicated assistant treatment people,
Yeah.
which is now more medicated assistant recovery. Let me get it right.
No, I didn't know they changed
Yes,
Matt to
Mar.
Mar.
Yes.
Yeah, it's now more.
Okay.
But they had to fight with Oxford to get a spot.
Yeah.
Because Oxford wouldn't let them in because they
Right.
didn't feel like they were clean. And I'm not like banging up Oxford. I love them. They've been around since the 90s. So you got to love that, you know. But and they've made adjustments since then. But and even in NA, people were saying people that are receiving more aren't clean, and they had to start their own 12-step meeting. So I mean, you got where's the open mindedness?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy surrounding all of that stuff because it's I don't know, man.
Chad has to take
the
hat off.
He's going to make a serious point.
So some people, the medication assisted recovery treatment, whatever it's called, it works as like a thing that's long term, right? Now most of it is designed for short term stuff, and you see people that I don't know. You see more bad things happen with it than you do positive things, right? But that's just because of the way that we've been indoctrinated to pay attention to the bad apples instead of the, you know what I mean? The entire, what do they say? I was focusing on the ugliness of a tree instead of witnessing the beauty of the forest.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, it's tough to see people like, cause it is a better, easier, better way than obviously scoring heroin. You know what I mean? Like being on methadone, being on Suboxone, being on any of that stuff is so much safer. Is there risks to it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But like it as an alternative, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and if you want to dog that shit, go shoot some heroin, get addicted to it, and tell me.
Right.
You know, because all the
right.
people that are judging everybody about stuff, they can go fuck themselves. Quite frankly.
Right.
You know?
I agree
So like
with
you go talk whatever you want, but the same dude that's like, oh, you're not sober is the same dude picking up fucking, 2 days sober women trying to sponsor him with his dick. You know what I mean? I'm not about that, dude. So I watch how people walk. I don't watch how they talk.
Right.
And like if people are about it and they're going through that, like that's cool. I've sponsored people that were on it. I've sponsored people that were on it and using it as a stopgap. And then just relapsing all the time and, just one step closer. But I've seen I know people that have been on it for years, man, and it is a way of
Thriving.
life.
Well, yeah, and I know people that it has truly saved their life.
Absolutely.
Without that, they would have, been done. I mean, Nolan, he's one of them.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I definitely think it's the lesser of two evils. But then it's like, people do have that conversation where, it's like legal, drugs.
Well, so is everything.
But honestly,
you go to the gas station and get fucking kratom,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's still the same people. We're talking about the same people that think like, how do I say this? That I'd rather tell you that I'm an addict and all the bad things that I've done and experienced in life than to tell you that I have mental health challenges.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I do not want to tell you I take meds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just in a meeting the other day and I almost cried because a dude shared that he was thinking about harming himself. Right. And in the room, in a support group, how are you at a meeting, a support group meeting, and don't feel supported to be able to say that out loud?
Yeah.
Like he sat on that, like in a meeting. And that can I cuss?
Yeah. What do you mean, can I cuss? Have you heard me talk?
That fucked me up,
Yeah.
right? You in a room full of people and we talk about being authentic and being our honest selves and this and the other. And here's this piece of my puzzle that I can't share with you guys because you guys have created this clique
Yeah.
and deemed what is recovery and what is not,
Right.
and you're standing on it.
Right.
But you're killing people at the same time.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Because you're running them away.
Yeah.
Sure.
The program with Narcotics Anonymous is based on attraction rather than promotion, but I'm running people away.
Right.
That's my rant for the day. I'm quiet. I'm sorry.
You're gonna. It's just that's just one of the challenges you're gonna face with like a structure that's been around that has helped so many people, that has been around since the 30s, and then NA in the 80s, right? You're just gonna run into that because there's people that are set in their ways,
People
and
that are purist.
and yeah, dude, you can call yourself as open-minded and blah 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 as you want, but like you're saying that's the only way to do it. You know what I mean? So where is all of that grace for everybody? Because
Right.
not everybody can answer those fucking qualifying questions the exact same
Right.
way. You know what I mean? But that program can work for everybody. But when you're fucking sitting there like, dude, you should fucking, you know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. If people showed up to the meeting, it wasn't by accident. They're just trying to get some help, man.
Right.
And if you're just like, oh, well, you're not going to find help here, dude. Just showing up and doing this. You got to do this. You have to. I don't have to do fucking shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
I think it's so important to never get away. And the more I'm in recovery, the longer I'm in my own recovery, the more I understand I cannot get away from the human value of what I'm doing. I came to a program to help save my life, which in turn ignited something in me to help someone else save their life. If I'm not getting with that fact, and I'm too busy still trying to manipulate and control and the powers that be that person who knows it all, I'm stopping my growth and I'm in jeopardy.
Yep.
And we're just talking about, the 12-step program, but again, this is so many different types of communal support groups. But basically what it does, in my opinion, is it's like a sifter. So we all come in at the same time and it's sifting us. Some will fall through the cracks. Some will stay a bit low, but it keeps refining. So my goal is to stay as long as possible and be as refined as I possibly can, because I believe that is my purpose, right?
Yeah.
And if so many people get stuck, and I had to learn the hard way, which I think we all have, is how
I learned the easy way.
when I first started chairing meetings at my group, I started getting a big head, right? You start getting that power thing, like,
Yeah, well, we call it
get off your phone. And
Captain AA. Yeah.
I'm the one selling this ship.
Right.
You need to sit down.
Right.
But over time, people called me out, and I had to look at myself, and I saw it, and then I refined that, and I kept learning and I kept growing. So people who are like that are in that phase for a reason. They're going to find out eventually, you know what I mean? Like,
It's not up to me to be the
disagree.
police.
Right.
I disagree. They don't go. Some people stay in that phase.
That's true.
They've been at 30 years in that phase.
That's true.
That's
And
home.
so that's
That's
where
true.
their experience comes into play. Because 30 years ago, you didn't have, dude. There's a smooth. If I had to rate the level of people that I see coming into a treatment center, now with co-occurring things,
Oh, yeah.
mental health and substance abuse, dude, it's high 90s.
Oh, yeah.
high 90%.
Easy.
30 years ago, it was probably not
Yeah.
high 90s. You know what I mean?
Well, they didn't realize back then, honestly, people didn't have mental health issues.
Yeah,
it wasn't talked about.
all
Right.
the
No,
all the
they-
No, it
were
didn't
terms weren't
exist.
coined or
They
anything.
were there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but nobody talked about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
It's been within probably the last 10 years I've heard some people share about their mental health challenges.
But
I
you know
don't-
why? Because of the chemicals. Think of the drugs now as
Yeah.
opposed to back then.
Oh, yeah. I'd be
Some of
toast.
them are like, what is it? Like a drug-induced psychosis.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, mental health issues are starting. you cannot ignore them.
And then the irony of all of that is like when you take those pills and you don't actually have the things that are necessary that those pills treat, you end up getting the things that those pills are supposed to treat. Right. So and you get overprescribed, you get all this, and it's you know, it's just a whirlwind. But it's just kind of like the evolution of man and what we've gone through. Because like in the 30s, man, they you know, they weren't talking about PTSD.
No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like they just weren't. So there was people coming back from war and they're like, yeah, you can't stop drinking, blah blah blah. And they're like, all right, man, we got a solution for you, man. Find God, and it worked. You know,
Right.
but then like you start bringing these things to light and doing all this more research. You know, next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, I've got PTSD, I've got this, I've been
Bipolar
taking this,
and
I'm
depression
I'm tripolar, you know what I mean? And it's just part of it, man. And so like it cannot be ignored because it's like one of the biggest things in the world now.
Yes.
But a lot of the stuff there's unintended consequences for everything that has happened, right? And nobody wants to really take those into account. So you put out new medication, you're gonna have new side effects. You have new side effects. You have new like things happening with people that need to be treated at some point. And then we're just now at the ass end of some of these drugs that have come out and having all of these potential side effects. So, I mean, it's just, but dude, I'm telling you, it's high 90s in the percentage
with
range
the
of people with
co-occurring.
co-occurring disorders.
For sure.
So Chad, that's why I went and got my MHPS.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I started seeing it more and more, and it's like, I mean, I had this one woman, she'd literally sit in her bed and just, I'm like, are you okay? All day. I was like, no, we can't just sit in the bed. But I'm communing with God. No, not all day.
Yeah.
You know, and so the more I started seeing that, it's like, okay, I need some more insight on this.
Well, see, you didn't think about it until you started seeking it or seeing it. It's like buying a new car, right? I go buy a new red car, and all of a sudden I see that same car on every corner, right? And so once I'm exposed to the mental health challenges, I begin to see it everywhere, right? I truly believe in the ACE state, right?
Yeah.
The adverse childhood experiment, right?
Yeah.
Most of the mental health challenges you see today come from childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Be it physical, be it mental, be it spiritual, be it emotional, all of the or all of the above, right? We only focus on the physical, but you know, if you tell a child that they ain't shit over and over for a decade,
Right.
you know what I mean? That damage is done, right? And then you wonder why
Right. Why
he's not
there
right. And so
why-
now I'm self-medicating for untreated symptoms that I can't tell anybody about because I don't have the language to tell anybody about.
Right.
We didn't talk about crazy.
Right, right.
Because that's all it was called back then.
Yeah,
crazy.
back then was-
Yeah.
You know, that was it. Wasn't no
really off the
diagnosis,
rocker.
right? You know, so we don't talk about crazy, right?
Guys,
And
one French fry away from a Happy Meal.
Right.
not that it wasn't there, it just wasn't. Now people can't, like, I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Well, you got to process, and then that's why I'm a huge advocate for therapy. You know, just
Yes.
period, and it's very accessible today. And when people come to me and wanting help, or I can see they need help, I always ask them, you know, hey, are you doing therapy? You know, because that I can tell that you're hanging on to a bunch of stuff that's happened, or you're not processing the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm like, you know, we're just friends that aren't even really, you know, that don't think they have a drug problem, you know. It's just like, dude, you need therapy.
Yeah, it's some people legitimately don't.
Yeah.
There are no people who have done heroin that, like you were saying, like they drink wine now, right? I know people that like did heroin for years and like they're just normal people now because they got off heroin.
Yeah.
I don't have that genetic makeup. I will do anything and everything until I die from it, and then I will somehow live through it and keep doing it after.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
just like that, and a lot of people are not.
Yeah, and that back to my story, like what he said about the ACE study. Like I don't really have a lot of checks on that. You know, I had both my parents. I wasn't physically abused. You know, I just have this genetic
It just
deal
said,
that
it
just
just said
clicked.
most.
No, but
Not all.
No, that's true. The chances, you know, the higher your ACE score, the higher your chance of becoming an addict,
Yeah.
suicide attempts, blase, right? You know, then I question, okay, what's wrong with me? Well, it's nothing, just like he said, like, I don't have a lot of that trauma. So I don't necessarily need therapy. I do want to say this, though, before. what you said about therapy and what you said about Matt recovery, like my view on that is it is kind of about abstinence, because I think ultimately we all should be free.
Right.
And therapy can be a crutch, because I've seen people in therapy for 20 years.
Well, yeah, but and I get that for sure. I've seen that as well.
Same with
I think there's I think it's the original intention, like as far as the therapy, you're supposed to go there, process this, deal with it, move on.
Yeah.
And same with Matt.
Yeah.
You know, get you through the rough spot,
Right.
and you taper off.
Right.
Yeah, there's a very
That's
small
technically-
percentage of people that is supposed to be like a long-term solution for.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
But it does work.
Originally it was geared towards short term.
Yeah.
Right. But what they found out due to the medications is
Some people it
it's
does
like
work
they'll never get
long-term
off.
for.
Right.
Like they have a step down, a tier program, but
But some
the
people
the
are just
psyche,
yeah.
right? And I can get with that because I've done heroin
Yep.
before. And so it's two things I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. A heroin addict and jail. Right. I don't want nobody to go to jail. But
Chad did both.
Dude, they had me on. They piloted like a fucking Matt therapy program with me at Dallas County.
They
They
did.
literally started, and it wasn't the
Really?
jail wasn't doing it, but they're connected with Parkland. So Parkland had prescribed me because I got arrested in the hospital, and they were like, "Oh, we can't give you this here." I was like, "Call the fucking doctor." And then they
Right.
did, and I was on Matt for like a lot of the stay that I had there. Then I got ripped off of it because I was supposed to transfer. And then at the end, they were like, "Hey, go back on it." And then I got off again. That last time I went through from it, I'm never fucking touching that shit.
Oh
again.
yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard
Period.
about
So,
that
but
part.
yeah, I've been a part of it, and it's a successful program working it. You know what I mean? Now, that granted, that was in jail, but it was the fucking cushion. It was the afterburners turning on when my space capsule was trying to land on Earth.
oh, I got you, bro. I did it cold turkey because I didn't want to trade one addiction
Yep.
for another.
Right.
So I faded the storm, and trust me,
Right.
that's how I knew I was an addict. That is exactly the when I knew I was an addict. When I got a heroin habit and I could get off of it, go to jail, mind you, get off of it, and come back and want to do more heroin.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm gonna
What
be
you went
physically
through,
sick.
yeah.
Like heroin, it's gonna say, get up, go get it right now.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get up and you're gonna go get it right,
Right.
then. Your body won't let you, like, you can't rest. So
Then somebody's like, "Hey man, just do this meth so you can get up and panhandle to go get your dope since you're dope sick." And I'm like, "Sure, dude."
and that just makes you worse.
Yeah.
Mind you, the mind say, yeah, I'm gonna get high, but trust me.
But yeah, so
That's something different.
Well, let's talk about what you offer at the Vita Nova housing.
So there's 4 recovery homes. The difference between recovery and sober living. Sober living is at Oxford,
Sure.
which is a level 1. NAR, which is the National Alliance of Recovery Residents, has a standard because of the debacle that happened in Florida, where all these, you know, the in treatment.
The body brokering?
Yes. So NAR was created back in the early 2000s to kind of eliminate that, but you have to be a part of it. Anyway, I digress. So there's 4 of us in Dallas-Fort Worth that are actually NAR certified. I am one of them. I'm
Okay.
proud to say.
Great.
But recovery housing, as a standard, has to implement all of these areas of a whole life, a social model, which is the opposite of addiction.
yep.
Is
Connection.
community and connection. So what does that look like? Esteem building acts, getting out in the community, being an act participant in your own recovery, support from your peers, getting out into, the workforce. There's so many areas. There's eight different areas that we try to focus on, even physical. I know you probably heard of the Phoenix, but
Yeah.
I like to take the ladies to go work out with the Phoenix. A lot of them don't like to do that, but
Right.
Y'all cutting into my boxing class right now.
so it's so that's what recovery supportive housing looks like. Oxford housing or sober living, which is a lot of sober livings popping up all over the place, and there's a place for them. Nothing against that. They just pretty much, some will drug test, some won't, some just get a check.
Right.
Some put 4 people in a room, some put 2. There's not a lot of oversight on those types of homes, which does, I can understand, the NIMBY, not in my backyard attitude, because some of them aren't regulated.
Right.
They're just opening a house and letting people come and just crash,
Right.
So I find it's very important, one, that they understand that I am their peer. You're going to have to start to trust somebody, and I want to be that person, right? I want to walk side by side with you, and if it's not me, stay long enough to find someone that you can trust and move forward, because women do come with a whole lot more baggage than men do.
Right.
Not that.
Well,
men
I don't want to
get,
say right on that, because
not that men don't get molested, not that men don't have mommy and daddy issues. That's not, just women process it differently.
Right.
Men handle it in a different way. They're not as emotional as women. So and I've seen so many. I've served 54 women so far, and my success rate is, I have to go back and check the numbers, it's been a while, but about 35-40% now. So most of the women stay the course and do pretty good.
Sure.
I can't save everybody, but I told myself when I first started, if I can assist one woman who gets it, and that light comes on,
It's all worth it.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
It's
well,
all worth
and
it.
so if people want to, I guess internet wise would be the best way to look into where would they find you?
It's long.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
You have to do a live. You have to do a live.
You went to the Jack School of Peer-to-Peer Whole Wellness. Yeah.
What is it?
It's Vita Nova transitionalhousing.org.
That is a mouthful.
Yes.
And that's VITA and then NOVA.
Yes,
right?
transitionalhousing.org.
All right.
Whoa, shout out Chad, dude, for another live edit of a name tag to throw a website in. I've done 4 edits today, man. Live.
Wow, dude.
I think that one I even had it up so you could see it.
Nice.
As the letters were entered.
Nice.
Well, Jack and I are partnering this year with the Sleeping Bag Drive. So
okay, cool.
We do a lot of fundraisers. Being a nonprofit, like you're always on your hustle. You have to be to stay afloat, because a lot of the women that come to me would be in a shelter because they can't afford a lot of these sober living homes.
How many women can you accommodate?
I have 5. I accommodate 5. I am in the process of expanding.
Okay.
I'm just looking for the right connections to get to the right place to get a house. So I mean, it's
gotcha.
So many women to serve.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's probably a lot of people that we could talk, like I could hook you up with, that might be able to help you out with that.
That would be amazing.
You never know.
It would be amazing.
You never know. But
so the clothing bag, I mean, the sleeping bag drive, we're partnering. It's the first time. I know we're coming to the end. Yeah. He brought me in so that I do Tarrant County. He's doing Dallas County. And we're going to give out 500 sleeping bags. I'm going to have you guys heard of Friends of Lancaster?
I have not.
They are in Fort Worth, but they go out and feed the homeless a lot in our homeless populated areas. So partner with them to help them with the food. We get the sleeping bags and get out there. So because I'd like to get the ladies in my program out into the community. We have a little outreach too. We get our donations and go and help the homeless and give out Narcan and things like that. So it's always something to do. Oh, and one last thing. We just had an awareness event this past Saturday. Just so y'all know, we partner with Dogs Matter as well. Dogs Matter. Jack
I
knows
love
about
that.
them.
I love Dogs Matter. Yeah, we've had them on the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They were on CNN. Steven was on CNN, but we were the first.
Well, Dogs Matter, just so people know, Dogs Matter is actually for people going into recovery, where they can
Treatment.
foster their animal.
Yes.
Or treatment. Yeah. In the in the interim.
So a lot of people will not get help because of their pets.
100%.
So
Yeah.
Steven started it so that he can find foster families, like you said.
Yeah.
Just repeating. So we did a foster awareness event, and we are the first recovery home in Fort Worth that is partnering with them, and we got our first foster pet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're going to be fostering dogs for people in treatment as well. So,
Well, that's great.
Yep. So
Well, cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
good stuff. All good stuff. As Jack takes our picture.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I appreciate you coming on
Thank you.
and sharing your story, and then obviously giving back. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. And then Jack, as Jack's multi platforming here. But hey, I appreciate you coming on. And then
What's your so
appreciate what you're doing.
another live edit for
Yeah.
Jack's name tag with the Peer2Peer Whole Wellness.org, dude, at the bottom of it.
There we go. I love it.
There we go, man. And look,
Sweet.
hold that up to the camera, man. Maybe they can just scan it with the different.
Oh, yeah, got a
eyes.
QR code.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right, man.
There we go. Beautiful. Well, Jack, as always, a pleasure.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
It's been a
dude,
pleasure.
and then we'll,
and an honor.
I mean, and just we got to get you on more often.
I work.
I mean,
Yeah, man.
quit being a
2025. We on.
quit being a stranger.
I got you, brother.
Yeah, man. Look at these hats.
All right, dude. There we go.
It's about to have for him.
There we go, dude. I love it. I love it. All right, Chad. Yeah, thanks for coming on again. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. What's your name?
Who? Who
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, but anyway, we got good stuff coming up next week. Be sure to like, subscribe.
What's going
all
on
that good stuff.
Okay, cool.
Do you like that? That's what I say when we don't know who the next guest is. I'm like, good stuff.
happening all around the place.
Exactly.
Look around and high-five your neighbor.
Actually, I think it's going to be Frank Parisi, the guy that actually has a heart transplant.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So I did know. So there we go. So
got another
anyway,
picture.
be sure, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Activate.